people within 12 months, not because they increased taxes, but because they got rid of enormous public sector waste and they cut public sector spending. To talk about taxes and spending, you can cut the pie any way you want, but the fact is it's not talking about the problem at root. The problem at root is the banking system. We've just given, £850 billion to the bankers, and who's paying for it? Everyone listening to this show is paying for it. That is the problem. And until, whether it's Labour or the coalition, decide to do something serious about the banking system, we will be in boom and bust ad infinitum.
Nigel's on the line from Leicester. Hello, Nigel.
Hello there, how's it going?
All right. Nigel, what do you make of what you've been hearing?
Well, two things really. I think the government have had no choice. If interest rates went up now, I know from my own personal and from the amount of people I know that everybody's used up the savings. They've used up every single bit of money they had over the last recession, over the last 2 years, where they've lost their overtime, they've lost days at work now, and a lot of them are barely paying the mortgage at this rate. If the mortgage rate goes up, the banks are going to shove the rates up, and hundreds of thousands of people are going to lose their homes.
Right, so this is the least worst option then, the cuts that we've heard today, Nigel, because the alternative, as far as you're concerned, was thousands of people losing their homes.
Well, it's not just that. It's the fact that everything we borrow, everything that we use, the interest rates will go up, and the banks ain't going to pass it on to us. They're just going to up the rates, rather than have, say, 1% above base rate, which they should be doing now for the mortgages.
Yeah. Okay.
And just rip us off completely.
All right. Did you have a second point?
Yeah, I mean, defence cuts. For me, I'm ex-forces.
Yeah.
And for me, the worst thing about the defence cuts is getting rid of the Harrier fleet. They are the most precious aircraft that we've got in the whole of the Army and the Air Force. Reason being that if we have a war where we've got no airfields, we've got no friendly sites, they can go on a ship, they can go on a container ship, they can be used on all the types of aircraft carrier, and also they don't need landing strips. They're totally flexible, and we're going to have 10 years where our troops aren't supported by a brilliant ground support aircraft, which can be deployed anywhere in the world without aircraft carriers.
Nigel,
but it also can be used on the aircraft carriers that we're buying as well now.
OK, Nigel, you've made your point. Well, I'm sure the Conservatives were representative here argue that the replacements, not necessarily Harrier jump jets, are in the pipeline, and also more Chinook helicopters are being built as well to operate off some of the aircraft carriers in the interim. 0500 909 693. If you want to give us a ring tonight, you can text us on 85058. There's still loads of stuff, loads of information that's come out of the cuts today that we've not even touched. Have we touched directly on the fact we're all going to have to work till 66 before we can? We haven't even mentioned that, just to depress you even more as we go into the news. Quick, let's get out of here. It's 12:33.
Online at bbc.co.uk/5live.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
And here with the latest BBC News on 5 Live is Rachel Hodges.
The government has set out its plans to cut billions of pounds from public spending to try and wipe out Britain's record national deficit. Almost 500,000 jobs could go over the next 4 years in prisons, policing, education and local councils. The Shadow Chancellor, Alan Johnson, called the plans a reckless gamble with people's livelihoods. He said the Conservatives were cutting because they wanted to, not because they had to. The French government has warned people taking part in violent protests against pension reforms that they won't go unpunished. Shops and vehicles have been damaged in battles between demonstrators and police. A British serviceman killed yesterday in an explosion in Afghanistan has been named as Acting Corporal David Barnsdale. The 24-year-old was with 3-3 Engineer Regiment and died while clearing explosives in Helmand province. And Britain's highest court has ruled that prenuptial agreements can be binding in England and Wales. The Supreme Court found in favour of a German heiress who is trying to protect her fortune, which is believed to be worth £100 million.
Rachel, thank you very much. Let's just have a little smorgasbord of the texts that have come in tonight.
This texter says, oh, please, so the left wing really is saying everything is fine and we can go on spending. What planet are they on? The growth of the last few years was built on massive unsustainable debt. At what point would they suggest we start paying the deficit back? Sam in Gloucestershire says, over 13 years, Labour couldn't give our money away fast enough. The public sector has to start to function as a business, and public sector workers now cannot hide behind a job for life. Razor in Newcastle says, what about getting rid of the school sports partnerships? Highly successful at getting young people active. So much for the Olympic legacy. And this texter simply says, winter of discontent 2010. Back to the polling stations in 2012.
Right, just a couple of songs as well, Rachel. My campaign to get the Wurzels on the programme before the end is coming on apace. I don't know if you've noticed it on listening to Livesey. Someone has suggested a Wurzels track.
Yeah, is that Grant White, Don't Look Back in Anger?
Yeah,
that works, doesn't it?
The Wurzels version of Oasis's Don't Look Back in Anger.
It's a beauty as well.
Let's see if we can find it before the end of the programme. What else have we got?
OK, we've got Status Quo, Down, Down, Deeper and Down. Finn Hall says, being positive, he says, what about I Will Survive? Terry and Chorley and Lanks says, always look on the bright side of life. We have to find that one.
Yes.
The best things in life are free, says someone on the text. Chelsea Tom in Halifax says, how about Hit the North by Fall or Living in a Box?
Okay. Rico
in Glasgow says, Eat the Rich by Motorhead. And one more from Peter in Watford says, Tom waits till the money runs out.
All right, I've just been told in my ear that the BBC jukebox has ground to a halt when they've put Wurzels into it. I shall have to go and sort that out while Andy Barwell reads the sport.
Well, we have news of more Champions League action, Tony. Manchester United are 2 points clear of Rangers at the top of Champions League Group C after United's 1-0 win over the Turkish side Bursaspor.
Nice turn by Nani. 7 yards outside the penalty area. It's a left foot shot and it's absolutely brilliant. Inside the goalkeeper's right-hand post. Manchester United 1, Bursaspor 0.
And that was the only goal of the game. No Wayne Rooney, though, because of injury. Rooney has revealed he wants out at United as he feels the club lacks ambition. So Alex Ferguson simply doesn't want the Rooney situation to drag on.
We're not going to become a saga, that we have important issues. We've got the team to consider. We've got an important game on Sunday, and that's going to be the end of it tomorrow. We'll carry on and dismiss everything else.
Well, also in Group C, Rangers drew 1-1 at home to the Spanish side Valencia. Maurice Edu scored both goals. We can hear from the Rangers boss, Walter Smith.
You know, for us, after the first 15 minutes or so, I felt we were kind of slow to start. We settled after that, and we created quite a number of clear-cut opportunities. In fairness, I feel a little bit disappointed that we maybe didn't take the 3 points with the chances we created.
Well, a 7-goal thriller in the Group A game at the San Siro. Spurs beaten 4-3 at the holders Inter Milan. Here's Simon Brotherton.
Unfortunately, a stunning second-half hat-trick from Gareth Bale can't really gloss over the reality of this match. Tottenham were awful in the first half, a goal behind after just over a minute, down to 10 men after 8, 3 behind inside a quarter of an hour. By half-time it was 4, and it might have been more. Zanetti scored the first, Eto'o the second from the spot. Goalkeeper Gomez sent off in conceding a penalty. Stankovic fired the third after 14 minutes. Eto'o's second came 10 minutes before half-time. Spurs were better in the second half, but Inter were coasting. Gareth Bale scored the goals of the night, though, after 52, 90 and 91 minutes, providing an unexpectedly fraught finale for the hosts.
Well, it's Inter Milan who head Group A on 7 points. Spurs stay second on 4 points. In Group B, Lyon made it 3 wins out of 3, a 2-0 success for them over Benfica. Schalke, the German side, defeated Hapoel Tel Aviv 3-1. Barcelona, atop of Group D, a 2-0 success for them over FC Copenhagen. It was goalless between Panathinaikos and Rubin Kazan. FIFA announced the provisional suspension of 2 executive committee members over corruption allegations. It follows a newspaper expose where the pair were filmed discussing trading their votes for the 2018 and 2022 World Cups in return for cash for private projects. The FIFA president is Sepp Blatter.
We are in our society, and our society is full of devils. And these devils, you find them in football. And nobody can give a guarantee. But we have to fight for fair play. We have to fight for respect. And especially, we have to fight that the people, they are in charge of FIFA, they behave